All right, let's turn our attention to other stories. Renovation of the Abuja airport's runway has started, and facilities managers are positive it will be concluded within the stipulated time.
But passengers say traveling the Abuja route is now too stressful and hope there will be no extension of the period of renovation. Lara Folayo reports.
The Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, devoid of its usual boisterousness, a fallout of the temporary halt in activities for its runways fixing. A drive across the runway's lengthy stretch shows the contractors have got down to business on site.
Repair work is ongoing right behind me at the Abuja International Airport's runway. The construction engineers are at the preliminary stage of making this runway fit for effective use once again.
We are working seriously ourselves as representative of FAN and Minister of Aviation, and then also the contractor, and we have consultants. Everybody is geared toward achieving the time period approved by government.
Chartered shuttle buses arrive and leave the airport's tarmac intermittently, conveying passengers to and from the Kaduna airport.
This bus just arrived from the Kaduna International Airport. It actually conveyed passengers who came in from Lagos this morning from the Kaduna International Airport to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. But some of the passengers who spoke with me say the journey was rather too long for them.
I mean, look at the time we are just arriving. A 7 o'clock flight, getting to Abuja after 1. So you could use that time for so many good things.
A journey that would have been just an hour or 55 minutes, as the case may be, from Lagos to Abuja Straits, took 4 hours.
This passenger waits to join the bus to the Kaduna airport for onward travel to Lagos. But she dreads the experience already.
To be honest, it's annoying, but there's nothing we can do.
Would you have preferred to travel by road?
To Kaduna.
Or to Lagos? You're going to Lagos, right?
Definitely not. From Abuja to Lagos by road? No.
The airport's managers say passengers should bear with the situation for now, as the development is for their own benefit.
I want to plead with the passengers that they should bear with us. It's only 6 weeks, and we are doing this in the interest of safety. So everybody knows that, safety first. We should make sure that Abuja runway and associated pavements are properly repaired in order to achieve the safety levels.
Business activities have been badly affected by the airport's closure. Some of the business people, like these cab drivers who ordinarily enjoy good patronage, are not smiling at the moment.
This business is down because we don't have any other means. This is our means of survival, and we've been here for long, for many years. We'll be patronizing, we'll be doing this business.
The worries of these cab drivers and travelers are the same. They sincerely appeal and hope the airport is reopened soon, as promised by the authorities, so an already bad situation is not worsened. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, we're joined now by the Secretary General of Aviation Round Table, John Ojikutu. Also joining us is an aviation analyst, Olumide Umayo. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
It's good to have both of you here again.
It's a pleasure.
Still talking about the state of the aviation industry, of course, specifically the diversion of flights from Abuja to Kaduna. Well, in spite of all the assurances coming from FAN and NEMA and other agencies in the aviation sector, international airlines still don't have confidence in the Kaduna airport. And of course, passengers too are complaining about stress. Before this repair work started, people like you did express your concerns about this particular move. Were there any options really left for government to take apart from this? And shutting down the Abuja airport and diverting to Kaduna?
Like I said earlier on, or sometimes ago, there was nothing anybody could have done without shutting down Abuja airport. The Abuja airport runway has more or less exceeded its tolerance limit. It's like you having a car that you have driven for 30 years without any maintenance. It's an aeronautical, the runway is an aeronautical facilities. The way you treat an aircraft, the way you treat the navigational aids is the same way you treat the runway. Most runways are built to last so many years, 100 years, Heathrow Airport probably is over 60, 70 years now. But they have periodic maintenance. The same way an aircraft has periodic maintenance, after this number of hours, you do this type of maintenance on it. The same thing with the runway. After this number of landing, you do this type of maintenance on it, on and on like that, until you get to the bigger one. When it gets to the bigger one, the period of maintenance might even be longer than
6 weeks.
Yeah, might even be longer than 6 weeks. You understand? But we're just lucky that what they are going to do on that runway is not the type that will go into the deeper ground that probably will have taken about 6 weeks. We have done maintenance or this type of thing they are doing in Abuja now. We've done it in Port Harcourt. We closed the airport for more than a year. We did it in Lagos. We closed that runway for more than a year before we could do that. But we're just lucky because this incident happened in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, because 3 aircrafts lost their undercarriage. Now, talking about the discomfort that the passengers are having, I mean, it was there before from the planning. And some of us have advised. What I think the government should have done, even when they failed to do that runway in 2010 and 2015, was to have started looking at the consequence of doing it in Abuja, repairing it in Abuja and diverting the traffic. My suggestion right from the beginning is that look at Minna. Minna is closer to Abuja than Kaduna. From every analysis, from every threat analysis, whether we want to believe it or not, the foreign airline will not go to anywhere other than Abuja. They made that very clear during the ministerial briefing. And I said it the last time. They just asked only 2 questions. And it was very obvious that with those 2 questions, nothing is going to convince them to go to. How many international frequencies do you have going to Kaduna? The answer was no. So if up to that time, up to now, you don't have international frequency going to Kaduna, you want us to go there? The answer was no. So,
what was the other question?
The other question is that will you increase your domestic frequency going down there? So which was an economic decision on our own part. That is for our own domestic airline. Will they increase their frequency? And I think that the domestic airline, with the level where they are, they still have the capacity to do that. Except those who have internal problems like Arik and Aero, who still have problem with fuel marketers, where they cannot pay for fuel, except those ones. Those who still manage to pay for fuel, they have the capacity. By my calculation, when this incident happened, I felt that we should be having extra 20 flights in and out of Kaduna. And that extra 20 flight means if you can get about 3-4 airlines, that each one of them can take average of about 4. And I was very happy when Medview came up and took 5 out of that. And that 5 for me translates to 20 in and out flights out of Abuja. So for the flight, there is no problem. For the domestic airline, there is no problem. The only problem is just the stressful distance you're going to put the passenger from
Kaduna to Abuja.
From Lagos.
Okay.
Because the facilitation in Lagos is going to take nothing less than 1 hour before they board. Another 1 hour plus flight to Kaduna. You understand? Then the facilitation, collecting the luggage and everything, another 1 hour plus. Then you now subject them to 2 hours to 2.5 hours from Kaduna to Abuja.
And disembarking in Abuja.
Absolutely. Those are the issues that we needed to have put into consideration.
Okay.
And some of us thought about that and we tried to advise, but I don't want to go into the other issues behind
we'll
that.
see if we can get those issues out of you.
Let me bring Olumide in here. About 1 billion naira was released to try to put Kaduna together initially. Considering that amount of money and what has brought, or the level to which Kaduna Airport has come up with now, how do you find justification as to, okay, it has met up some level of standards and facility and all of that?
Well, it boils down to when you fail to plan, then you plan to spend and run into emergencies and quick jobs. We did not plan. We did not maintain, just like the good captain has said, we did not maintain the runway. The cost we would have used to maintain the runway some time ago, we're now doubling it in doing a patchwork in some other places. It's 1 billion to Kaduna Airport, over 5 billion to the Abuja runway, another 1 billion to the ministry to provide those buses and other logistics for the police, road safety, immigration, other personnel, and another 1.1 billion for the Abuja Kaduna Expressway. All this money were brought out almost simultaneously into the economy to run the airport. Now, we discussed this here before that the time span, the 6 weeks, will not be enough to move an airport that was just operating 3 flights a day to an airport that will operate 45 flights and international flights at the same time. It was impossible.
So there are no guarantees that 6 weeks is the time given.
No,
that will not be extended.
The contractors have given some conditionalities for the 6 weeks to be met, that provided the other parts, the government part, some materials that are needed, some things, covers that are needed are provided. It is when those things are provided that the 6 weeks become 6 weeks. If those things are not there on time and as expected, the 6 weeks might go beyond that. So that's provision has already been given by the contractor. And I just hope we would make our own part and let this 6 week pain, the 6 weeks of pain, go past us.
In my question earlier to Mr. Ojikutu, I asked the question whether there was any alternative, any other option left for government than this total shutdown of the Abuja airport. Some people, experts like yourself, would give the example of Gatwick Airport, a single runway airport that was rehabilitated and refurbished and all of that without needing to shut down the airport totally. They worked all through the night and of course weekends without disrupting the economy of.
If you're going to social media the last 2-3 days,
let's allow you to respond to that. Let's go on a break and then we come back. Don't also forget that top of the hour, with time for us to go on a news update. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast.
You're welcome back. You're watching TVC Breakfast. We're looking at the Abuja airport closure due to rehabilitation. 6 weeks has been given to do the repair work.
It has started, and we expect that under normal circumstances, if everything goes on well, by the 19th of April, everything should be back
done
again.
And dusted, and people can, all right, our guest in the studio, of course, right here is the Secretary General, Aviation Roundtable, John Ojikutu, and also an aviation analyst, Olumide Onwayo. Both gentlemen, thanks for remaining with us. So the question I asked you earlier, in the case of Gatwick, it's the same single runway airport like Abuja Airport. There have been rehabilitations there every now and again, and there was never any need to shut it down. They worked all through the night and of course weekends.
Yeah, if you're on social media this week, you'll have noticed something about the Glasgow airport too.
Yeah, exactly.
That was put on social media, and everybody was saying, look what is happening in Nigeria if they can do this in Scotland. And why are we going too far? Ghana. Here, Equatorial Guinea, they did the same thing without really shutting down. But the difference was that those runways were due for maintenance, and they did it
at the appropriate
time. Within 2 hours. Because if you look at all these runways we're talking about, none of them have had the incident of aircrafts undercarriage being damaged. We have had 2 or 3 incidents of damaging aircraft of other airlines. If FAN was insured, I am sure those airlines would have everybody was saying, look what is happening in Nigeria if they can do this in Scotland. And why are we going too far? Ghana. Here, Equatorial Guinea, they did the same thing without really shutting down. But the difference was that those runways were due for maintenance, and they did it
at the appropriate
time. Within 2 hours. Because if you look at all these runways we're talking about, none of them have had the incident of aircrafts undercarriage being damaged. We have had 2 or 3 incidents of damaging aircraft of other airlines. If FAN was insured, I am sure those airlines would have sued FAN and gotten a lot of money. And I think this is why they must insure FAN now, because when you are insured, when you participate, and that's why they can get the certification. When you get all these things in place, you will know you have a responsibility not only to the passengers but also to the airline, because they all pay for these services. And when they pay, they expect to meet all the equipment and infrastructure in place.
Okay.
So when you have a runway damaging aircraft and you just sit by and say sorry will not repair that aircraft. It is money.
All right, we'll certainly look into that again, because there are issues emanating from that particular aspect. Now let's go on the news updates now. All right, thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. If you're just joining us, we're discussing the closure of the Abuja International Airport in Nigeria and diverting all the flights to Kaduna. The airport is closed now. Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport is closed, and there are reactions from passengers already and even aviation experts. We have in the studio discussing this the General Secretary of Aviation Roundtable, John Ojikutu, with us in the studio. We also have aviation analyst Olumide Ohuayo. Now, let's give you some facts about the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Now, the Abuja airport is approximately 20 kilometers west of Abuja first, and the airport has an international and a domestic terminal sharing just one runway, which is about 3,500 meters long. It is the second busiest airport in Nigeria after the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos.
The Abuja Airport runway was constructed in 1982, and more than 20 airlines operate an average of one flight daily into the airport from within and outside Nigeria. Usually the lifespan of a runway is 20 years, and as we speak, the Abuja Airport runway has been in use for 34 years, resulting in a number of distressed and failed portions of the runway. A master plan for a second runway was abandoned over the years. Many international airlines were considering pulling out of Abuja Airport because of the dangerous runway and multiple incidences of landing gear damages that had been reported.
We talked about that earlier. Now, in 2013, a Saudi Arabian cargo plane damaged its landing gear on Abuja Airport runway, and that led to the closure of the airport for several hours. Now, a South African Airways plane got damaged when it landed on the same Abuja Airport runway in August 2016. And an Emirates aircraft was also damaged when it landed on the same runway in October 2016. And that was one of the reasons the airline gave for stopping operations to Abuja Airport.
Now, the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja, has been closed for runway repairs for 6 weeks. So the repairs will cost about 5.8 billion naira. Relocation and diversion of flights to the Kaduna Airport cost about 1.1 billion naira. Of course, like our guest said earlier, did we have to wait this long? And when the cost of actually fixing the runway would have doubled or tripled.
That's why they give the example of Ghana. Ghana, you know, when the runway is due for service, and you service it when it is due, so it becomes cheaper to
34
handle.
years after that's about 14 years.
14 years.
14 years. Overdue.
Wow. Now, John, let me ask you, talk to us about the helicopters that were banned from carrying people from Abuja to Kaduna and Kaduna back to Abuja.
Honestly speaking, nobody has been able to convince me of that reason. In fact, when I heard it the first time, that the National Security Advisor said so, the question is, did he consult with the Aviation Authority? And you find out the way it has worked out now. Ordinarily, anything that concerns aviation in this country, the Civil Aviation Authority must be the one to have been able to assess it and give his decision. And they should be the one to come up publicly to tell us. NCA didn't do that. The ministry didn't do that, even though they shouldn't do that. Even if the minister sits down in his office and considered the idea, he needed to have given it to NCA to announce, because that's the only authority as aviation is concerned. But for the NSA to come out publicly, I was really worried. If there is any security assessment at all for that reason, he needed to have passed it to the minister, and the minister will now give it to NCA to announce. But nothing like that happened. I just find out now within how many days, the minister that was supposed to even talk earlier on is the one that talked. There was no reason for that at all, because the helicopter could land within the airport. We have all these aircraft that have been landing in the airport, this airport we are repairing today, except there is any threat on Abuja within the period of the repair of the runway. You understand? If there is any assessment of threat because we are repairing Abuja runway, then they should be able to tell that to the minister. Then the minister will now give it to the Civil Aviation Authority to announce. There was no reason for that. But I was just looking at it for the same reason we have to go to Kaduna, why we couldn't go to Abuja, we couldn't go to Mina. I was just looking at those are the issues that are behind, and like I said, I'm a safety man. Some people
will tell you that the road from Mina to Abuja too is actually treacherous.
Bam. Haven't they not? No, seriously. No, seriously. Have they not spent the same money on Abuja Kaduna Road? Have they not done that? And I said, Minna is much closer to Abuja. If we are talking of 5 hours now from Kaduna, I mean by this diversion from Kaduna, we should be talking of about 3 hours. Because Minna to Lagos is less than 1 hour by any standard. Then the road itself is less than 1 hour. Put it 1 hour. So whatever money you are spending on Abuja Kaduna Road
could have been spent.
You could have spent on that road. That road was been bad. Since 2010 we are talking about when that runway was due for repairs. We could have spent that money. And it's a federal road. It's not a state road. So, but there are so many things we do to hurt ourselves. And we just make it look as if we are doing a kind of favor for the people. But do we hurt the people more than that? So there was no reason whatsoever for what we are doing. But mine is that the runway must be repaired. The runway, the way some of us were trained, you need to inspect it every day. And I keep asking them, when last did you, the person that is using that runway to put an aircraft there every day, when did you inspect that runway last? How did it get to the level of what we are seeing today? That you go there every day and you are seeing it since 2010? Aircrafts have been losing undercarriage on it. Like he said, if they had a way, they would have sued this country. But somehow again, when you look at some of the things we do in this country, including the foreign airline, what they do on the table with them in the ministry, you just find out that they cannot even sue the government.
Now, speak to the fact that, the state government, that's the Kaduna state government, says it's provided rail transport from the airport to the railway station and all the other security apparatus put on ground to ensure extra security for the people who have actually to ply the Kaduna-Abuja route. And the fact that the president landed in Kaduna anyway, isn't that enough to actually give people some level of confidence?
So I think the president took helicopter from...
Well, of course, he still took helicopter from...
Well, I think it's good to have alternate modes of living Kaduna. And also, you should not deprive those who can afford to fly.
In other words, I actually asked that question. Sorry to cut you there. Are there any lessons to be learned from all of this that's happening? Because we hear now that the local airlines don't even have any partnership with the foreign airlines that would have eased this problem too. So maybe you want to, touch on that.
Yeah,
too.
It does come together. But let me finish with that before I come to that one. You see, now, if the government is giving options of rail and road, and the airlines are saying we're going to provide the helicopter shuttle services for those that can afford it, those who are time conscious, I don't think you should deprive such people the opportunity of getting to Abuja faster than usual, than the norm now, because the usual is Lagos Abuja, not Lagos Kaduna Abuja. Now, looking at it, those helicopter companies announced their intention to do this during the period of closure. They had moved equipment, moved personnel, and all the while the NSA was there. There was no comment. All of a sudden, about 2-3 days operation, you are announced you're going to ban it. Moreover, you have the police helicopter that you said is part of those who were funded to patrol the airspace to ensure that nothing happens on that route. And you have the Air Force, the Air Force in Makurdi and Kaduna. They are crews that they can call as backup. So I didn't see any reason for that. It was announced by the NSA. Now this morning, it was announced by the Minister of Aviation, asking them to reverse the order. We're happy to reverse the order, but we're not happy. There are too many interferences from people outside the Civil Aviation Authority. It's the NCA that should take the lead in such issues that concern civil aviation. Now, coming to the second one. What was the second one?
Yeah, the fact that local airlines don't have any kind of partnership with the foreign airlines, and it's part of the reason why they're saying,
when I said sued, the foreign airlines will not sue, because when you come and negotiate that you want to operate 5 flights into Nigeria, and Nigeria will operate another 5 flights into your country, and Nigeria is not operating, then you come back and say, government, since your country is not operating these 5, I want that 5 of Nigerian airline. Without discussing with Nigerian airline, without paying for it, and you just get under the table, extra flight, extra frequency.
So then, they don't even have the moral standing.
So they don't have the moral standing to say, okay, yes, I want to sue you because you know you have something else.
Exactly.
And they are not discussing. In the past,
when there's only Nigerian Airways, what you find that when they come to say, I want to partner with Nigerian Airways, I want to partner, the only airline that seen that kind of partnership was Virgin Nigeria, the short-lived Virgin Nigeria. They have this on record as the smallest airline to have the IOSA. They got we have look at the time of construction of the airline, and when they got the IOSA certificate, it was the shortest in the history of civil aviation worldwide. And since then, there's not been any airline. Why? ARIC has all the aircrafts, but aircrafts don't make an airline.
All right, we'll come.
Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's go on a break, and because it's getting really more interesting in the house. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. It's going to break. We'll be back.
Welcome back. You're watching TVC Breakfast. If you're just joining us, we're looking at the closure of the Abuja airport. Of course, there's been diversion to Kaduna Airport. Foreign airlines are saying, no, we cannot fly that route, except, of course, Ethiopia Airlines and all of that. So many issues surrounding this, the loss to business in Abuja and all of that. Okay, our guest in the studio is the Secretary General Aviation Roundtable, John Ojikutu, and also joining him, of course, is aviation analyst Olumide Onwayo. Ojikutu, you want to speak to, the issue raised earlier, the partnership between foreign airlines and local airlines, and you want to do that very briefly, and of course speak to the business loss, the bigger picture when it comes to Abuja itself, because so many people are saying, look, we've lost business, the hospitality industry is suffering, and all of that.
Well, I mean, like Umwa, you rightly said,
yes,
the issue of the airline, foreign airline, partnering with
local airline
cannot be there, because the business has been taken by government itself away from our own domestic airline. And that's why we said that the government policy on aviation does not encourage the business for the domestic airline. I mean, if you sign an MOU, what do you call it, the bilateral air service agreement with a foreign country and say, look, I will come to your country 5 times and I will come to your country 5 times.
Also number of times.
The same number of times anyway. Because if there is a deficiency on one side, the other side has to pay for it.
Okay.
But we don't have the capacity. We all know we don't have the capacity. And you now sit down, not even the bilateral air service agreement, you still give them multiple landings. Right now in this country, foreign airline, there's a particular foreign airline that lands in almost all our airports. And that's the Ethiopian airline. Ethiopian airline lands in Lagos, it lands in Abuja, it lands in Enugu, it's landing in Kaduna now. It's already before now thinking of landing in Kano. You understand?
And it's working on Port Harcourt.
And if you find an airline that flies in like that, then where is the business for your own airline? So why would they go into partnership? Why would they want to go into partnership?
When they already have.
When they've already taken over your domestic routes. So these are the part of the problems. That if we sit down and analyze the Nigerian aviation policy on aviation, you get crazy with the people that are managing it in the ministry. That is the problem we have. So businesses losing in Abuja is because of some of the things, because when you look at all the problems, the way we have analyzed the closure of the runway, which shouldn't have been closed at all, because the only time you can close it, if you maintain the periodic maintenance, is to close it in the night. And everybody's in the hotel. In the morning, they are sure they are going to board the aircraft and get out. But you've taken that one away completely from Abuja. Abuja, sure, I mean, like I said before we came here, I said, well, look, it's just only 6 weeks. Julius Baja said he was not going to start until everything is ready. When you are ready with everything, then I will start. Mine is that the amount of job that is on the runway is for me to do in 6 weeks. Get everything ready on your own side. I will get everything ready on my own side. And I believe that that thing is going to be ready in 6 weeks. And I appeal to the public, particularly the travelers, that they should exercise patience. That runway will be finished in 6 weeks. Right. Whether the ministry and farm will get Abuja ready,
it's another matter.
It's another issue.
Yeah, whether they'll be able to go back and get it ready after 6 weeks, because attention is in Kaduna now. Whether they will quickly divert the attention to Abuja and get it ready is another thing that I cannot do.
All right, we'll come back to this. Let's bring in Fola Dele to give us a perspective on reaction on social media. Finally. Good morning.
With all of this, do you feel like traveling to Abuja?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't, and it's sad that, as usual, like Olumide said earlier, we've left everything till last minute and now we're running helter-skelter. But let's see how people are reacting online. Good morning, Mr. Ojikutu. Okay, so the first one here from Mui says, I can bet that it will take at least 3 months before Abuja Airport is ready. This is Nigeria.
Anything can happen.
Oshoma says, Abuja Airport was shut down for repairs, not the airspace. Over-regulation is a huge impediment to businesses in Nigeria. Yeah. Horace Awi says, Nigeria government shuts down Abuja for 6 weeks. In Scotland, they do the same thing without shutting down the airport. Fatima Askira says, the irony about the Abuja airport closure is that even the Kaduna airport is under repairs. Hashtag politics, hashtag Nigeria. Mr. AD says, people who have created 0 non-government dependent jobs within Nigeria's economy are hailing the closure of Abuja airport, and he laughs about that. Adeyanju Deji says, I support closure of Abuja airport for repairs. Before them go close airport for Nigeria, thing don't go beyond bad. I know his story. Okay, so he's saying that it has to have gotten really bad for them to have decided to want to close it. So exactly. I had John talking earlier, and he said, I think he was alluding to the fact that he doesn't think it would take 6 weeks. How about you? Prediction? Someone says 3 months. How long do you think it will take, and how can we perhaps shorten the time, or should we even shorten it? Should we let it take as long as it takes?
I don't think the time can be shortened, but I sincerely doubt. I think that's the only place I'm going to disagree with him. I sincerely doubt if that 6 weeks target will be met. Sincerely, what might happen is you see they might, because of the repetition, because of what they told the public, they might open for skeletal operations, maybe one for 2 or 3, 4 aircraft operations, done a minimal period, but to open it for 24 hours operation, that can be in 6 weeks.
And somebody talks about over-regulation of the industry. Is it
not good for business?
Not good,
in Nigeria.
Oh, for the business. Yeah, well, somehow I don't know whether to call it over-regulation. I think there's a kind of carelessness on the part of the people that are regulating the industry. He mentioned something about insurance.
Yes.
You understand? The regulation stipulates that the airport should be insured. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulation stipulates that fine should insure its airports. But the question is, have they been doing that? And there's enough regulation. I don't think it's over-regulation. There is enough regulation, but nobody cares about it. They put it aside.
Okay, so this is about the operation of such regulation.
Yeah, it's the enforcement, my dear. Arik is owing. Why should Arik, one private airline, 300 billion in this country?
Wow.
And you have regulation that you must check his book every month. And you didn't do that. The regulations are there, but we just put it aside and do.
No.
I think the over-regulation that the guy on your trending mirror there was talking about was that, look, the airport, it was a runway that was closed and not the airspace. So why do you want to join the airspace to it and deprive some people who can afford to? Because I know some people,
I guess that's talking to the helicopter.
Some ailment, they might not be able to travel 2.5 hours by road or in a bus that's not as comfortable as their luxury cars.
Indeed.
So the weather will take that helicopter. So like I said before now, why should you deprive some people? If you have allowed people to go by road, if you allow people to go by rail, then those that can afford to go by air, please let them do.
Right, okay.
All right, Fola, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks.
Now, in all of this now, Olumide, let me stay with you on this. How can we take advantage of this closure? Now, we remember the story of the second runway in Abuja. How can we take advantage of this now to see if that can be revived so that this doesn't happen again?
Sincerely, I'm not a fan for a rush into the second runway. I'm not a fan because I believe the one you have, if you do not maintain it well, what happened to the first one would happen to the second one. And make no mistake that at a time when we were ready to do the second runway on Motoba, they came with a huge bill. That the huge contract bill for the airport that was for the runway for the second runway that was enough to build a new terminal entirely. So and that was the time the general administration was coming to an end. So we wanted to take the money and run away instead of doing a runway. They wanted to run away with the money. But now we are back here today, and like you said, what are we going to take away? What we should take away is that what has happened to Abuja is happening to some other runways and some other airports within Nigeria at the moment. And we need to go to those airports now and do the routine maintenance. The NCS should move from the background to to the front line and take their role as the inspector, as a regulator of the industry. They should not be afraid of any of the agencies. As a regulator, every agency, whether public or private, is under your control.
Exactly.
So you must go now and look at this. But there are some other roads that are in that situation now that we need to go and work on rather than close down the runway in future. So that has to be done. Again, I'm looking at what is happening to passengers now. You are not going to Abuja. I was at the airport yesterday. I had to snap when someone was disturbing me for someone. I said, look, don't disturb me. I snapped the domestic airport terminal yesterday, all empty. I snapped the trolley bagging, all empty. Nobody's even taking trolley bags. So it's not really affecting Abuja. The closing of Abuja is affecting almost all the other flights in the country because Abuja is now central. So I would advise that let's go back to. I need to provide facility to make those using the Kaduna airport to be comfortable. Because I know for now there's a problem with POS and the ATM machine there. And in a state where we're not pushing people to go cashless, we need to provide the facility that will make people enjoy the cashless, because most passengers are stranded in Kaduna airport because of this facility. Again, I've met one or two people that missed their flight because the public address system in Kaduna airport was not audible enough and could not get to some areas within the airport. So 3-4 people have missed their flight. So there's some naughty areas that need to be tidied up. I know it's practically impossible to move from 3 flights a day to 45 flights successfully. You are not a magician. Everybody prepares and plans. If you don't plan, you waste money and run into emergencies.
Mr. Ojikutu, Captain Ojikutu.
Yeah.
So going forward then, what do you think are the implications of even this foreign airlines that refuse to ply the Kaduna route? How will that affect the industry?
I never expected that it was going to affect the industry as much, because before now, the foreign airlines were making about 23, 24 flights to Abuja every day. I don't expect government to stop them from making that number of flights every day to Lagos. Okay. You understand? I do not expect them to do that. Otherwise, the domestic airline will have no business. I was thinking that...
But will Lagos have the capacity to take that extra flight?
Of course. Lagos, we are not even taking... Lagos cannot even... I mean, it's not even operating 30%
of its capacity.
No. It's not. We're just discussing about 2 runways. Lagos does not need 2 runways. Just like we are saying Abuja does not need 2 runways. Gatwick has only 1 runway. The traffic in Gatwick is double the traffic in Lagos and Abuja put together. Heathrow has 2 runways. The traffic in Heathrow is more than 2 times the number of traffic in all the 22 airports in this country. What are we talking about? You understand? So these are the issues. There is nothing that is going on now that we cannot absorb, but like I said, it's just because people just neglect their responsibility.
Okay. All right, Captain John Ojikutu, Secretary General, Aviation Roundtable, thanks for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
And Olumide Ohwayo, thank you for coming as well. Thank you. Right. So much. Let's go on a break. I will be back to discuss the last topic for the day. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast.